sunsets and skies so blue. Mountains whisper stories of dreams so true. From oceans roaring wild to valleys deep, a heartbeat of a nation that will not sleep. Save South Africa, rise above the storm. Hands together strong, a new world is born. Beauty in our hearts, let it light the way. Evil cannot reign when we seize the day. The people sing louder than shadows can scream. Together we're stronger than the wicked scheme. The soil holds our history, roots run so long. A melody of freedom, we're singing strong. They may curse the land with lies they weave, but we hold the truth in what we believe. Their crowns may crumble, their thrones may fall, for the power is the people's above it all. Save South Africa, rise above the storm. Hands together strong, a new world is born. Beauty in our hearts, let it light the way. Evil cannot reign when we seize the day. People sing louder than shadows can scream. Together we're stronger than the wicked scheme. The people sing louder than shadows can scream. Together we're stronger than the wicked scheme. The people sing louder than shadows can scream. Together we're stronger than the wicked scheme. The soil holds our history, roots run so long. A melody of freedom, we're singing strong. They may curse the land with lies they weave, but we hold the truth in what we believe. Their crowns may crumble, their thrones may fall, for the power is the people's above it all. We know it all.
Well, I can answer that for the president. It's for him. No, seriously.
I'd rather have him answer.
Yeah, I'd rather answer that. It will be.
My president will respond to you.
Yeah, let me,
Thank you, Mr. President.
it will take President Trump listening to the voices of South Africans, some of whom are his good friends, like those who are here. When we have talks between us on around a quiet table, it will take President Trump to listen to them. I'm not going to be repeating what I've been saying. I would say if there was Afrikaner farmer genocide, I can bet you these three gentlemen would not be here, including my Minister of Agriculture. He would not be with me.
Influence, move with a practiced grin, shaking hands with the lights that dim. The White House walls heard his claim to fame, but the shadows whispered a different name. Oh, Ramaposa, what's the cost? Truth uncovered, bridges crossed. You played the game but lost your way. Now the world sees the price you pay. Pretending blind to the cries at home, while the streets of SA ache and moan. Right, the man with the golden hue, but the deal fell flat and the lies broke through. Oh, Ramaposa, what's the cost? Truth uncovered, bridges crossed. You played the game but lost your way. Now the world sees the price you pay. mask came off. No suits, no ties, just shadows aloft. The past screams loud from the buried ground. Now the silence breaks with a deafening sound. Oh, Ramaposa, what's the cost? Truth uncovered, bridges crossed. You played the game but lost your way. Now the world sees the price you pay. Oh, Ramaposa, what's the cost? Truth uncovered, bridges crossed. The horrors rise from a nation torn. Whispers turn to cries of scorn. History's weight won't stay concealed. Every wound must one day heal. Oh, Ramaposa, what's the cost? Truth uncovered, bridges crossed. You played the game but lost your way. Now the world sees the price you pay. Oh, Ramaposa, what's the cost? Truth uncovered, bridges crossed. You pay.
And they're doing precisely what we said we as South Africans should not do. We should stop running to other countries. We should discuss our own problems here.
I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Whoa, what's going on there? We got double cameras on there, folks. Hang on just a second. That shouldn't be on. There you go. Welcome back to the program, ladies and gentlemen. Boy, this doesn't look like the right color for this hoodie, but there's a reason I'm wearing it. It was a gift from someone while in South Africa. Let me show you what it says. Hadida, what say you? That's what it says, folks. Welcome back to the program. All right, let me start this with a monologue here very quickly about a couple videos I've produced this morning. My anger is palpable. I will do my best to stay calm about this. Last night, a dear friend of mine's mother was savagely and brutally attacked on their farm near Brits. She and her partner, who's elderly, both elderly, he's wheelchair bound. A couple days ago, their dogs were poisoned. Then after that, they stole the tires from their bakkies so they couldn't escape. And then they attacked the farm. At 2 a.m. last night, tied them up, savagely beat them with a antique iron, left them. All they took initially was his pistol. Thankfully, they didn't murder them. And they dropped the pistol on the way out, either by mistake or intentionally. One does not know. Nothing was stolen in the attack on the farm. This is terrorism, pure and simple. These people were terrorized. They were assaulted to frighten white South Africans off of their land, off of farms. I have other friends in the Brits area, including a first responder who is in a different security cluster area and was unaware of this attack. I've informed him, and he's heartbroken as he knows the couple. The man was wheelchair bound and whipped while tied up by cowards. You will be discovered. You think this will go unpunished? You've attacked the wrong people. Count your days. Justice is coming for you. You will pay a price for this. Don't you dare try another attack before you're captured. And if you're from another country, if you're not running for those borders now, I'd suggest you get started. This will not be tolerated any longer.
So now they're crying over toys. Toys made in China. They say tariffs will ruin Christmas. I say good. Maybe it's time your kids learn where things come from. Not everything shows up in a box with a smile. We gave China our factories. They gave us cheap junk. Now we take it back. And if a few kids miss out on plastic garbage this year, blame the deals you voted for.
Welcome back, folks, to the program. My apologies, but I'm very angry, and it's taking all I can do to contain my anger. I've been angry for years, but this one here hits home. They're not relatives of mine, just the mother of a dear friend. And so Ramaposa makes jokes. He makes jokes, he laughs about it. And look at the DA, part and parcel and complicit in this crime against humanity. Let me show you Sir Ramaposa. Now watch his chuckling, cackling Dean McPherson, his token whitey, walking along with him. Watch this. You love the DA? This is the DA. They think it's funny. Dim the lights. This is a moment they should never joke about. Yet they do. Donald Trump, are you watching this?
Dim the lights. So.
See the cackling hyena on the left? The man who says nil compensation is compensation. That's Dean McPherson, is it not? Is that not Dean McPherson? Am I mistaken? Is that not Dean McPherson from the Democratic Alliance? Am I wrong? Please, somebody tell me that's not Dean McPherson from the Democratic Alliance.
I'm saying, why are they dimming the lights? Are they doing a Trump on me?
Is that your team from South Africa?
Was that not Dean McPherson? Did I get it wrong? If I'm wrong, please correct me. That's not Dean McPherson? Not laughing about the plight of people assaulted and murdered while he collects a 2 million rand salary as part of the government of national horror? Do you see? You see the Leugners and Betrugners, the liars who betray the Afrikaner nation, who betray South Africa? Do you see these evil bastards? The Democratic Alliance is dead. It's gone. Laughing it up. Now, to be fair, that video was recorded before this farm attack, but that's not the point. They're laughing about what happened in the Oval Office. Dim the lights. Is this a dim the lights moment? You find that funny? You find that's how disconnected and how little they care, how callous they are about the suffering of black, white, and brown South Africans. The blue machine. Yeah, the blue machine. Beaten with an iron. A man in a wheelchair. Tied so he can't resist. What kind of cowards do such things? And Dean McPherson and Cyril Ramaposa laugh about it. You notice the security detail behind it didn't laugh. He wasn't laughing. They're traitors. They're treasonous, treacherous bastards. The enemy amongst you. The snakes in the grass. I don't know what to say about that. That's not even remotely humorous. Not even remotely humorous. The sad part about this is the Democratic Alliance has a large number of genuine, patriotic, committed, caring members. I know many of them. There are people who care about South Africa. They care about all South Africans, black, white, and brown. But this is the leadership of the Democratic Alliance. What do you say? What do you say to this, folks? Well, I mean, what do you say about this? I get the hate wankers who come on and say, you are opposed to the DA. I've never been opposed to the DA. I'm just showing you the true face of the Democratic Alliance. Did I miss something here? Did Dean McPherson not cackle like a hyena laughing about this? Was this not in the aftermath of the Oval Office debacle, in which Ramaposa said, Mr. President, I've never seen this. Did they tell you where it's at? To which Trump says, it's in South Africa. Brilliant answer. There's no party other than the DA that do something for people's Cape Town. Really? Have you been to Kailichi recently, Bell? Have you been to Monenberg? Have you been to those places? I have. Were you there for the taxi strike? I was. Nearly got killed. Yeah. It's not the DA's fault, but they're not solving the problem either. Wow. Patrick's being attacked since 2004 for attacking the DA. I've never attacked the DA as a party. I encourage people in 2021 to vote for this party. I had no idea they had people like this so callous and uncaring. Such total politicians. Now, I don't know Dean McPherson's true feelings, but two things of late have exposed his behavior as reprehensible. Falsely claiming that nil compensation is a form of compensation. How is nothing a form of compensation? Do you not understand the English language? Your name is McPherson. Am I wrong to assume that your first language is English? Did I miss something, Dean? Dean McPherson, not Vimpy Dutoy, not Tian Fundamava, but Dean McPherson. I perhaps am wrong. English isn't your first language. You don't understand the word nil. You don't understand the word compensation. The two don't go together. You can't compensate somebody with nothing. Compensation is giving somebody something for something. When you get nothing for something, that's called theft. That's called theft. Did you not say that, Dean McPherson, recently? I believe I heard you say it. And were you not walking with Ramaposa laughing like a hyena when he dismissed the Dim the Lights episode at the White House? Wow. What a sick, twisted world, folks. What a sick, twisted world. I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, can it be any more obvious? The disdain, the callous disregard that politicians in South Africa have for you? I mean, have I missed something? I mean, let's play this again. I mean, for those who missed it at the opening of the program, let's play this again. This is your government in action. Remember what happened on Wednesday last week, a week ago. President Ramaposa came to the White House. He tried to lecture President Trump. That failed. He brought his whitey friends. That failed. They tried to bribe the White House with rare earth elements and natural gas and Starlink access. That failed. And then President Trump showed him the Normandy protest in September of 2020. And the South African media's response, fake news, fake video, AI. It's not AI. I covered the events. Nobody was doing AI 5 years ago, except for secret labs. What a bunch of nonsense. Trump made the mistake of saying they were grave sites. They're not grave sites. They were markers to honor those who were tortured and murdered, dismembered, raped, and brutalized in South Africa. So let's just play the tape. Let's roll the tape.
Dim the lights. So I'm saying, why are they dimming the lights? Are they doing a Trump on me?
That's funny, is it? Is that funny? Look at these people laughing. The security guards aren't laughing. The colored guy and the white guy are doing their job. But look at the white guy on the other side, on the far right there, with the blue blazer on. He's laughing. The black guy with the gray blazer on, he's laughing. They all think it's funny. The murder, the torture, the brutalization of South Africans, black, white, and brown. They find humor in it. This is not a humorous moment. Not even remotely. Not even remotely humorous. Kevin Mottram gave a super chat. Says, why is Sierra so emboldened here in South Africa, but rather cowardly in the Oval? because the media in South Africa will not cover these stories. Has anyone in the media covered the murder or the attempted murder or the assault? Excuse me. Has anyone covered the assault of the family at Brits last night? It was 2 a.m. that time, which means that it was 10 o'clock my time, or 8 o'clock my time last night. So 8 o'clock last night, it's now noon. That's 18 hours. Has it made the news yet? Anywhere other than Jacques Brudrick from AfriForum reporting on it and me doing a video on it? Probably not. Probably not. Did I miss something? Are these people not laughing about the moment that occurred in the White House? They think it's funny. They think it's funny. That picture speaks 1,000 words. The DA has been captured. They're no longer in opposition. They claim they're trying to create jobs for South Africans. At the cost of what? The cost of what? Kevin's second super chat says, you think he isn't afraid? He isn't afraid because no one's ever done anything to the ANC in 27 years. They've got a free ride lying about the history of South Africa, rewriting the history of South Africa, taking credit for things they had nothing to do with. The ANC didn't create the Freedom Charter. It was written largely by South African Jews and the Pan-African Congress, not by the ANC. They were on the sidelines. They just joined the party. But they take credit for the Freedom Charter. They take credit for black consciousness. The ANC had nothing to do with black consciousness. That was Steve Biko and his friends. They did that. The Black Sash movement. Helen Zilla exposing the murder by the security forces of Steve Biko. These are true liberation era heroes, not the ANC. They necklaced thousands of people. They murdered and assassinated thousands of leaders of the Inkatha Freedom Party, decapitating that party and crippling it to this day. That's what the ANC did. Leading people to freedom, the long walk to freedom is a long BS to freedom. They led nobody to freedom. They've led nobody to freedom. They've defended nobody. They've protected nobody. They lie. And they've gotten away with it since 1994. Rewriting history. Lying to generations of school children. Demonizing white South Africans. Racially oppressing coloreds and Indians. Falsely claiming they're part of BEE, but then excluding them from it. Unbelievable. Craig says he understands rage. We've all been there a long time. I've also been there a long time, Craig, but I was in the intelligence committee. I couldn't express it publicly. That meeting seared in our minds. We thought we were awake. That really made sure we don't relax or slip into slumber of denial. Mad Max says, what did Mad Max say? Sorry, jumped on me here. Please check your last video I sent you. See our laughing and joking about the dark room. Oh, I haven't seen that one. Let me pull that one up. Okay.
So when I came in...
Oh, yeah. Okay, here you go. It's from Newsroom Africa. So after he goes to the White House, this is how he behaves. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. So let's pull this one up. I haven't heard this. This was on Newsroom Africa. So let me make myself on the screen so that I have fair use on this. I don't want to get in trouble here for misusing things. So there we go. Where is the... There we go. All right, so let's listen to this.
So when I came in, I saw the room going a bit dark. They darkened the room. And
that's actually not what happened, you liar. The room wasn't dark. It was darkened to play the video.
For a moment, I wondered, what is this? It's happening to me again.
Oh, sorry. Okay, yeah, he's talking about where he's at there. He seems to think it's funny.
Because at that moment, we were seated very nicely, and I was beginning to get into a groove of, interacting with this man. And I suddenly hear him say, no, dim the lights.
Do you think it's going to go well for South Africa after this bull snot? Wow. Wow. Yeah, they really don't give a crap, Jano.
And I must say, a number of people have said, this was an ambush. This was an ambush. And I was bemused. I was saying, what's happening? So when I saw Clement, I said, this guy could have a role in all this. He's repeating what he experienced. But ladies and gentlemen.
Wow. Wow. He seems to think it's funny. The episode in the White House is humorous to him. It's humorous to Sir Ramaposa. That video will be shared with the U.S. government by lots of people, I'm sure. He's making mockery, exactly, making mockery of the deaths. You're right about that. Heinrich Schönefeld gave a super chat, 140. His lights will be dimmed very soon by Trump. Yep, I think you're right about that. Thank you for answering, says Kevin. Do you think that the U.S. will retaliate for... I think after watching that video, the White House is going to be very angry about that. So we've heard the lies in South African media for weeks about how the Trump assault on South Africa. Trump has never assaulted South Africa. He issued an executive order which canceled funding because the ANC cried about the funding that was suspended for the world. And then they lied about the expropriation without compensation. So he said, hey, no more aid. We're not giving money to a country that lies to us. So he stopped the aid. That's it. It was our money. There was no punishment there. Just our money. You're not entitled to it. So he stopped that and he offered a refugee program for those who are suffering. That's our domestic policy. That's our prerogative. So then he did two tweets, a social media post on Truth Social, one in March, one in April. And that's it. That's it. Trump never assaulted South Africa. He's never led a barrage. There's never been a propaganda campaign against South Africa. The propaganda is coming from South African media and the South African government. They're the ones committing these offenses, not Trump, not the White House. The hammer hasn't been brought yet. South Africa has violated the African Growth Opportunity Act since 2018 and been allowed to ship $3 billion a year in goods without duty to this country. $3 billion a year. That's $60 million in tariffs that weren't paid since 2018 per year. 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 times 6. That's almost $400 million in tariffs that South African companies didn't have to pay when you were illegally participating in the African Growth Opportunity Act. Trump didn't punish you. Biden didn't punish you. Trump hasn't punished you yet. Now, the African Growth Opportunity Act is a dead letter. It's going away. Congress is not going to renew it. But that's not germane to this conversation. There are no sanctions on South Africa or any of its leaders. There is no ban on travel from South Africa, from any South Africans. There is no embargo on South African trade. No American companies are prohibited from doing business in South Africa. South Africa has not been removed from the SWIFT banking system. Nothing has been done to South Africa. All of that's on the table. All of that's on the table. Ruben Halongwani says, so now he must not laugh. Well, yeah. So, Ruben, if your mother was raped and tortured and her throat slit and politicians laughed about it, would you think that's appropriate? Ruben, Ramaposa can laugh. It's the occasion. It's the context. It's the occasion. It's the context. If you disagree with that, then you're just being dishonest and disingenuous. If a member of your family was brutally assaulted with an iron and people laughed about it, dismissed it, it's highly inappropriate. Something, if he wanted to make a comment about the meeting with Trump about the lights being dim, something along these lines would have been more appropriate. Jeez, they're dimming the lights. The last time that happened, things didn't go so well. Can we turn the lights back up? Or something like that. But no, making fun of it, making light of it. It's disgraceful. It's inhumane. If you don't agree with me, Ruben Langwana, you're welcome to disagree with me. Yeah, they're just laughing at Trump. That's the biggest insult here. They're laughing at Trump. Raven says we're all in very serious trouble. Luis de Villiers says Ramaposa and his ANC and EFF hate whites, but Ramaposa especially loves acting the gentleman, spouting airs and graces. Ramaposa does not like being black. He wants to be white. I don't know about that, but he definitely is rude. Yeah, please hit the like button, folks. 1,700 people or just 645 likes. Did you see how EFF carried on about the white deputy speaker in Parliament when Ramaposa was supposedly asked questions? No, I didn't see that. I missed that portion. Professor G, I'll have to take my word of this, attorney reasons, but I do know of Afrikaners here who were granted asylum. That's huge. Doesn't mean all will. Yeah, but the percentage is incredibly low, is it not, Professor? I was unaware of any Afrikaner who had ever been granted asylum. It's not ever been covered by the press. The number is a handful. Also, for those of you who think that the refugee program has ended, you're mistaken. For those of you who think that people are not coming over to the U.S., you're mistaken. For those of you who think that it's not in process, you're mistaken. And that's as far as I'll go sharing information on that. So, there you go. Generational dysfunction. Sorry about your friend. Seems like an attack. No, it wasn't an attack against me. Nobody knows that I know these people. Nobody knows that I know these people. Even the people who are attacked don't know that I know who they are. So, no, it wasn't an attack against me. No, nothing to do with me, generational dysfunction. No one knows that I know these people, and I don't know them personally. It's the mother of a dear friend, and no one knows that I know these people. So, no, it's not. Yeah, Cyril Ramaphosa's finished, Arctic. You're right. There's nothing to offer him after him. Patrice Motsepe, yeah, they're going to go below. Joe Pollock did an assessment of the Trump-Cyril meeting. Need to go view that. No, I don't. No, I don't. But thank you for sharing. People are welcome to watch it. Very low. This is an exception, not the rule. And I want to. It's an individual process. Well, it's over 90%. Well, you're an asylum attorney. You know it's well over 90% of this claims are rejected because it's adversarial. You're not innocent until proven guilty in an asylum case. You have to prove your case before a judge, and they're not legal scholars. I could be an immigration judge. I do have some background in law, but it's military law and international law, but I'm not a lawyer. But you don't have to be a lawyer to take the bar. Anybody can take the bar and pass it and get licensed to practice law. True story. In many states, not everywhere. Yes, Charles, the program is being expedited in my view. Ramaposa thinks I was interviewed by a media outlet, a U.S. media outlet today, but they're in South Africa, for an off-the-record comment about it. And that's exactly what I said. The program is being expedited in my view. Black Ink. By the way, hearing your expertise in travels and African credentials, I was impressed. Well, thank you, Black Ink. Most people have no idea. They run around. That's like on the DJ Sabu interview, you get this nonsense. Well, who is this YouTuber, white YouTuber, to lecture black South Africans? I'm not a white YouTuber. First off, I'm pink. I'm not even white. Second, I'm a historian, a political scientist, a published author in academic circles by Stellenbosch University, by the Army War College. University lecturer, 30-year plus intelligence analyst and intelligence professional, a federal law enforcement official, a leader, I've run multi-billion-dollar programs and thousands of men and women. It's the stupidity of idiots and their bigotry and racism looking at my appearance and going, oh, he's just a white YouTuber. No, you don't know what you're talking about. Sit down and be quiet. Anyway, Garrett said Cupcake would screw this up. He did. He did. The arrogance is an all-time high. My mom was something last Sunday. She's not doing well. Broken cheekbone. Oh, my God, Pierre. I'm so sorry to hear that. Oh, my goodness. A lot of things don't make the news. I saw them a couple years ago. There was a protest. They burnt the library clinic. Actually, I remember that. I think I remember that. If people are going, but in the same breath, we want them to remain quiet as possible. Suzanne Mosley Walker says it's not possible to find words expressed, but these people do not have the capacity to care or display mercy. It's hatred, pure and simple. It's the kind of hatred that makes them torture and kill. Yep. And during the liberation struggle, people weren't tortured and killed. The security forces, the exception, a few people for confessions, but the ANC murdered thousands of IFP supporters, but people weren't running around and torturing farmers. Some farmers were killed, but they weren't being tortured like this. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I've got news to cover today. I haven't even gotten to it. The program is continuing just more covertly. Don't want to attract much attention. Correct. It's not 90%, Hugo. It's not 90%. It's not worth it. It's not worth applying for asylum. Not when the refugee program is presented to you free of charge and it's a gift and you don't have to prove. You just have to demonstrate a genuine fear. Why would you apply for asylum? First off, you can't apply for asylum unless you're legally in the United States. So someone who's not here, it's not even an option. Not even an option. The criminal rogue Biden regime is gone. The violation of federal immigration law is no longer being tolerated. We follow the law here now. The rule of law applies in this country. The leftists have lost for the moment, and we follow the rule of law. So you can't even apply for asylum unless you're legally in the United States. Criminals in the United States cannot apply for asylum if they've invaded America. They will be deported. Miro says, that's why we're lucky you're on our side. Well, thank you for that. Oh, that video should reach the Oval Office, no doubt about it. Marku Noy, do I know what's going to happen? No, I don't. I wish I was Senior von Rensburg, and I knew I was a prophesizer. I'm not. I'm just an analyst and can make predictions, and I have a huge information gap right now on several issues that I'd like to make a call on, but I mean, it would just be pure speculation. I don't like to speculate. Shannon Edwards, love the interview on DJ Sabu. Yeah, well, thank you, Shannon. I appreciate that. Thank you for taking the time to actually listen to it. I thought it went very well. Generational dysfunction. Can we all take a moment and pray for the Afrikaners? Well, I think we all need to pray for all South Africans. Yeah, it's Tijd om te trek. Yeah, Transvaal. Tijd om te trek. Yep, you're right about that. You're right about that. Yep, it is Tijd om te trek.
Get up.
Yikes. For some people, anyway. Some people are going to stay. But a lot of people are suffering immensely. Tijd om te trek. Why won't you share details? In the beginning, you said you'll be sharing info with us and not listen to anybody else. Now you don't want to share. Morsh, number one, I don't have sufficient sources to confirm the information I have is correct. Also, it's none of your damn business. It's none of your business who's leaving, when they're leaving. Why would anybody here think it's your prerogative or privilege to know when people are leaving so their safety can be jeopardized? You saw what happened to the first batch of people. I'm not trying to be rude to you, Morsh, but I don't understand your question. I said I would share information that's available. There's no information available. These are rumors. These are sayings from people who claim they're going somewhere. I can't determine the veracity of some of these things. Hence, I'm not sharing that information. And even if I had that confirmation of these things, I would not share it because people's personal safety is in jeopardy. Their families are in jeopardy. I don't understand why somebody would ask that question to me. I have shared everything that's publicly available and analyzed it correctly the moment it becomes available. Whether it was executive order, Trump's Truth Social post, his comments on the tarmac, his comments when asked questions, the State Department answering questions, the subsequent publication of the account, my interviews with genuine refugees. I've shared all that and my analysis, and I'll continue to do so. But I think you're confusing something here, Moshe. There's no way I'm going to just share rumors. There are so many rumors flying around, people freaking out about things, and it doesn't accomplish anything. So I'm not going to do that. I will tell you to reassure you that there are interviews being conducted, that people are coming, and they will be arriving. That's all I'll share. Beyond that, we jeopardize the safety of people, and to ask for that is unfair. Yes, Europe is very quiet about events in here. Shame on them. That's what I talked about in my last video. Rikus de Vries says, I must say, Chris, your stream quality and knowledge is impressive. Well, thank you very much for that, Rikus. I'm sorry you cried, Annalise. They're alive. They've survived. She wasn't beaten as badly as he was, though. Walking in town and past a large group of students. I don't know what's going on, Peter Maritzburg. There are 4.8 million white people, Monique. They can't put 4.8 million people in that tiny private property of Orania. Hey, Lizelle, welcome to you. The Dutch Parliament's discussing issue. Well, that's overdue. Arctic says he can share that the green card waiting periods for other visa holders are rapidly shortening. Well, that might be because of what's going on. It may be specifically South Africa. I suspect it's for the world because the State Department under Marco Rubio has been streamlining a lot of things. Two hate speech incidents towards you in 2 days, Val. Sorry to hear that. Scammers already calling people in refugee groups, keep your private info. Yeah, Dawn, we've talked about this since February 7th. In the first 10 minutes, I warned people about scamsters, shysters, hucksters, and people looking for money. One of whom is well known to many people here, took money from people claiming to get them on a list and then made videos, came to my meet and greet and asked for a selfie with me along with hundreds of other people, and I granted the selfie and then used that selfie to try to scam people. And then when it didn't work, attacked me saying that he came to my meet and greet and, well, I wasn't impressed. Really? The hundreds of other people there were. If you weren't impressed, you're pretty dim-witted. No, he's just scamming people. I asked to come on my program and interview him. He asked to come on and let me interview him at the beginning of the thing, and he didn't seem to have any reason to come on, so I didn't talk to him. I was very reticent to talk to South Africans who wanted to help in the beginning because I was afraid that the hucksters would come out, and I was right. It took a while before I was willing to interview the Amerikaners because I needed to kind of check their bona fides because I didn't know who they were. But we did interview them, and we've talked to a few of their members. Happy to say one sale registered and being paid out. Okay, good. You don't have to share anything so long as it keeps your people safe. That's the most important, Lindy says. Yep. South Africa cannot be saved, says Anita. I don't know about that. South Africa can be saved. Anyone know why landlines, replaced by cell phones? Cell phone service can be switched off. That's not why, Shaka, but it's a conspiracy theory. But landlines still exist. We have landlines here. They have landlines here. Landlines exist, but they're highly capital intensive, and mobile phones are capital intensive, but much easier to place and deal with. Also, it gives you the flexibility of moving anywhere. You're not tied to the landline. So we have landlines all over America. Pierre, thanks for my objective reporting. This regime is vast. Okay, we stay near the farm attack on your previous video, elderly people. Lizelle, be careful. Be careful. I have a friend who lives not too far from there, but in a different security zone. Yeah, South Africa can be saved in 90 days. Exactly. No, I'm not doing that because then I'll be accused of attacking the guy. He attacked me. I'll leave it at that. People know who he is. Tied home to click. Tied home to. Okay. Yep. Hey, Erica, what's going on? A company with the U.S. number charging $250. I'll prepare your documents and reference. They're frauds. They're frauds. You do not need to pay a penny if you're interested in the refugee program. It costs nothing. Not 1 red cent. Not 1 shekel. Not 1 yen. Not 1 ruble. Not 1 rand. It's free. Everything. The examinations. The only thing you pay for is getting to America. And if you don't have the money, that's fronted for you normally by the International Organization of Migration, United Nations Agency. I don't know what's going to happen going forward, but that's a normal process. And then you have to pay that interest-free loan back after 6 months in installments. If you don't have a sufficient income after 6 months, you have a large family, you're not making enough, then they'll let you stretch it out or delay it. So the other thing you have to pay for is if you have pets and you want to bring them, that's on you. You want to ship your own things, that's on you. But processing and coming to America, resettling, costs you nothing. Odette Diager, 35 Rand. Thank you so much for that. Anyone charging you $1 for refugee program is a fraud. They're not doing anything for you that you can't do for yourself. South Africa, some folks enjoy. Well, why isn't the G20 doing anything? Jasmine, look who runs the G20. UK run by leftists. France run by leftists. Germany run by leftists. There's your answer right there. There's your answer right there. Irene gave 70 Rand, says, I hope the next step will be sanctions from the whole world. I was so hopeful that President walked out of that meeting with a plan to make South Africa safe again. No, he didn't. He didn't walk out with a plan for that. So let's get to the news, folks. We got some news, and I'm going to start off with something I haven't done before. I'm starting my news broadcast today. We're into this almost an hour got quite a conversation here. Thank you to the 1,700 people currently here. Be sure to hit the like button, folks, if you don't mind. Thank you who've sent the super chats. Appreciate that. But I've never encouraged a single person to leave South Africa. Never. That's not my role. I'm not here to encourage you to leave. I'm simply here to give you honest, cogent, thoughtful, insightful, and accurate analysis and predictions. That's my role, and to rubbish the fake news and expose the frauds in the media and in government. That's my role, and that's what I do here. But today, I'm starting off the news stories with the following from the U.S. Embassy for those who want to know where it's at after what occurred last night and the behavior of Cyril Ramaposa a day ago and a day before that. So, because of their behavior, this is what I'm starting off my news story with today. The Refugee Admissions Program for South Africans on the U.S. Embassy website posted May 12, 2025. Consistent with President Trump's Executive Order 14204 addressing egregious actions of the Republic of South Africa, the U.S. Department of State is coordinating with the Department of Homeland Security and implementing partners to consider eligibility for U.S. refugee resettlement for Afrikaners and disfavored minorities in South Africa who are victims of unjust racial discrimination. To be eligible for resettlement in the U.S. consideration, you must meet the following criteria. Must be of South African nationality. In other words, you have to have a South African passport, be a citizen. Must be of Afrikaner ethnicity or be a member of a racial minority in South Africa, and must be able to articulate a past experience of persecution or a fear of future persecution. Should you be interested in this program, individuals who meet the criteria will be considered for referral. Must complete this statement of interest, and this is what it looks like. Applicant statement of interest, the purpose, routine uses, disclosure instructions, and here's how you fill it out. Put your surname, your first name, your middle name, your primary phone number, your email address, your country of residence. They're even letting people who are outside South Africa fill this out, which is interesting. So do it. Including yourself, how many individuals are in your family interested in resettlement? Okay, answer those questions. All right, answer truthfully. If you do not have a passport, tell them you don't have a passport. When you get one, then you get one. All right? I've never shown that as a matter of practice. I've pointed it out, but I've never gone through the form like that. I've had my fill of this nonsense. People shouldn't suffer like this. It's been going on for years. The White House cast a long shadow over Cyril Ramaphosa's parliamentary question and answer session. This from News 24. But look, he's laughing again. That's him before a session at the National Assembly. Well, that may be appropriate. Maybe something funny was said by Paul Mashatile there. Maybe something appropriate was being said, so we don't know. So I'm not going to criticize him for that laughing. But I think it's disrespectful of the News 24 to put a laughing Ramaposa there. I'm sure he had a somber face at other times. EFF MPs disrupt the session with objections, preventing MPs from asking questions, which could lead to an investigation into the EFF's MPs' conduct. Well, it should. Soon after Trump returned to the White House earlier this year, he posted on his ironically titled social media platform, Truth Social. Ironically titled. Okay, so that is not news. See, that is not news. Jan Herbe, that is not news. That is opinion, and your opinion is as valuable as your backside. Jan Herbe, writing a news story, reporting the news, says his ironically titled social media platform, Truth Social. Why is it ironically? You're on News 24. You're ironically titled News 24. The more appropriate title for News 24 is Cockpot 24. You're not reporting news. This isn't listed as op-ed. It's under news. It's under the news. And on the above the fold, the top of the page. It's not news. It's BS from your leftist worldview, Jan Herbe. You're full of it. You're full of it. In his Oval Office ambush of Ramaposa, lies. Nobody was ambushed. They asked for the meeting. They prepared for it. They tried to ambush Trump, and it boomeranged on them. Since there was a genocide. That's another lie. Trump never said genocide. Jan Herbe, you lie. You lie on Cockpot 24. This entire article is nothing but a passel of lies. In his Oval Office ambush, not an ambush, Trump insisted there was a genocide. No, he didn't. He did not say genocide once. When asked the question, Trump said he wasn't convinced there was a genocide. Yet these liars, these propagandists, these yellow journalists, shame, shame, shame. Wow. On Tuesday, Ramaposa had to tell the National Assembly there should never be a group that feels it is more special than others. We're all equal. Then why are cadres given BE contracts? Why are black South Africans given racial advantage if no group is better than others. That's a lie. Trump's MAGA acolyte, South African-born industrialist Elon Musk. Elon Musk is not part of the MAGA movement. That's another lie. I'm done reporting on Jan Herba's lies. Just total propaganda. Ramaposa says that broad-based black economic empowerment is not an impediment to economic growth. Are you serious? Are you serious? Wow. President Ramaposa launched a vigorous defense of the government's broad-based black economic legislation, saying it is meant to broaden participation in the country. No, it's not. No, it's not. To include the previously disadvantaged. Really? Then why are there 3 times as many poor black South Africans as the apartheid era? Why is that? Why is the black middle class now larger than the entire white population, but 30-some million black South Africans live in abject poverty? Because you haven't distributed the wealth. You've concentrated it from white hands into preferred black hands and ignored 30-some million poor black South Africans plus millions of coloreds and Indians and some whites. This is bogus nonsense. Ramaposa is full of it. He says it's not BE that's holding the economy back. It's exclusive ownership, like your $350 million of wealth, Patrice Motsepe's $1 billion. Is that what it is? In defense of BE, Ramaposa says South Africa's redress policies aren't the issue stifling a growth. Why can't black people be made to own productive aspects of work? Why can't they be rich as well? Well, they can, if they build it. Why can't they build it? Why can't they achieve? Because your policies hold them back. Well, the state calls for life imprisonment for the Jocelyn Smith traffickers, for that beautiful little girl. State has called for life imprisonment for 3 individuals convicted of kidnapping and trafficking the missing Saldanha Bay child, Jocelyn Smith. State advocate Zelda Swanepoel urged the Western Cape High Court to impose the prescribed minimum sentence of life imprisonment for the human trafficking. Why the minimum? How about the maximum? She left sentencing and the kidnapping charges at the discretion of the court. She emphasized the severity of the crime. Beautiful little child. Sold for muti or sex trafficking, who knows? People are sick. Christian Dimont gave 70 rand, says thank you for the info and updates. You're very welcome. I was bemused, says Ramaposa. And we know, we saw that. We just showed that video. Times Live reports as he reacts to the dim the lights of White House. Yep, there's the video. When I came in, I saw the room going a bit dark for a moment. I wondered what was happening to me again. Jeez. Wow. Callous disregard for human life. Collins Lesejero is placed on special leave as the chief executive officer of the Road Accident Fund amid corruption allegations. Say it ain't so. Another ANC appointee. Lesejero, who appeared before the Standing Committee on Public Accounts this morning, was suspended with full pay. Full pay! He's been implicated in several allegations of financial mismanagement and corruption, primarily centering around the controversial $79 million lease deal for the offices in Joburg. A preliminary court by the Special Investigating Unit, the Hawks, found that he interfered with the procurement process by overturning a bid committee's recommendation to favor Moana Properties, a losing bidder linked to the government employees pension fund, which ultimately secured the lease agreement. Wow. His contract expires in August. Will he continue to be paid while he's suspended? Probably. I'm not a trigger-happy savage, says Julius Malema's lawyer, who shot randomly at black folks. Yeah, they report these stories not very often. Attempted murder accused Tumi Mokoena, who has acted as EFF leader Julius Malema's lawyer, randomly fired shots at farm workers in a salary dispute. A security supervisor at Zedebila Citrus Farm, Klaas Mbwene, who lost the middle finger in the shooting incident, testified that Mokoena did not fire any warning shots before taking aim, contradicting the accused testimony from the day before. He pled not guilty to the incident that occurred in 2017. Now, had a white farmer shot at black farm workers, you guarantee he'd been in jail or already convicted of the crime. 2017, 7 years later? Yeah, notice this gets pushed back so they can not get a conviction, the evidence being old, the memories fading. Yeah. Lesotho Highlands Project is corrupt. Well, surprise, surprise there, ladies and gentlemen. Lesotho Highlands Project, vital for Gauteng water, faces a probe after 11 billion rand jump in the price tag. Yes. Yep, a multidisciplinary team will be appointed to determine what is behind recent construction delays and escalating cost. Well, if only the ANC had actually finished the project the National Party had put in place in the 1980s and implemented in the early 1990s, and only phase one was complete, had they completed all of it, this wouldn't be an issue today. But no, they neglected and stole the money in the meantime. And now people don't have water in Haoteng. Now, this story I've not reported on because the media keeps getting it wrong. I'm very confused because this story about Farhad Humar, a wanted terrorist by the United States government, I confirm that. That man is wanted. But are there two Farhad Humars? Because the photographs that News 24 and City Press keep showing do not match the photographs that the rest of the world has for the gentleman named Farhad Humar. So let's take a look at this and see what's really going on here. Are we being misled? From alleged terrorist to potential future president, Farhad Humar launches Sharia law party. They say that's Farhad Humar. Oh, okay, he's covering his face behind this guy. My bad. Okay, maybe that really is him covering his face. Controversial Farhad Humar, who was accused of terrorism and identified as the leader of a local ISIS cell and hit with sanctions by the United States, has applied to register his own political party, the Islamic State of Africa. Here's yet another insult to the United States. The leader of an ISIS cell sanctioned by the United States government for his role in terrorism has now been allowed to file a political party in South Africa. Talk about insult. And here's the actual picture of him, the guy who was hiding his face. Durban man previously accused of terrorism wants to run for election. KZN businessman who was previously accused of terrorism, attempted bombings of at major retail stores, wants to run for office in South Africa. He's registered a new political party called the Islamic State of Africa, which he wants to be part of the political landscape. He said the party stands for Sharia law, which has led people for more than 1,300 years in misery and subjugation. Islam means submission. That's what Islam means. Submit yourself. I submit myself to no one. Treasury sanctions South Africa-based ISIS organizers and financial facilitators. This is from 2022. That's how long ago it happened. During the Biden administration. Between 2017 and 2018, Farhad Humar helped organize and begin the operations of a Durban-based ISIS cell. He's the leader of the Durban-based ISIS cell, was provided some of his known residential properties and vehicles registered in his name to sponsor cell meetings and operational activities. In his role, he claimed to have recruited and trained cell members and was in contact with members of ISIS, DRC, and ISIS supporters throughout South Africa. Humar raised funds through kidnap for ransom operations and extortion of major businesses, which provided for more than 1 million South African rand in revenue for his cell. In 2018, South African authorities arrested him along with his associates for their involvement in a plan to deploy improvised incendiary devices near a mosque and a commercial and retail buildings. Why is a Muslim putting incendiary devices next to mosque? Does that help people get to Allah faster? Crazy stuff. So we'll cover this story in more depth and more insults in the United States as the South African government Independent Electoral Commission allows a known terrorist sanctioned by the United States government to register a political party in South Africa. Well, it's a big weekend in rugby. United Rugby Championship quarterfinals are this weekend, starting tomorrow. Well, starting Friday. The Stormers play. But Daily Maverick only cares about the Bulls and the Sharks. Yeah. They talk about the Bulls facing Edinburgh and the Sharks facing Munster. And they neglect to mention that the Stormers are also playing. Shame on you. The Stormers count too. I hope the Stormers win and surprise them all. So Friday at 8:35 South Africa time, Glasgow hosts the Stormers in Glasgow. Saturday, the Bulls host Edinburgh at 1:30, and then Leinster and the Scarlets, and at 6:30 the Sharks host Munster. I'll be covering all 3 South African games this weekend, Friday and 2 on Saturday on Rugby Ascended. Play-by-play and color commentary. Please join us. It's not just Afrikaans programming that SABC is abandoning. They've abandoned the news. They've canceled Sieben Milan and other programs, but now they're also canceling majority programs too. Yeah, I guess they have no money. SABC bids farewell to Muvango. The household favorite soapy ran for nearly 3 decades and made Shisha Venda popular, so because it was spoken in the Venda language. After 28 years in the air, SABC2 and Word of Mouth Productions have announced the conclusion of the soapy Muvango. Well, so it's not just Afrikaans that they're eliminating, it's also Venda. Why big oil turned to Trump? Well, big oil companies are turning to Trump over disputes with 6 Central African countries. Chevron, ConocoPhillips, and other companies are locked in dispute with 6 Central African countries over fossil fuel products. The Trump administration is waiting to long-running dispute between its allies in the oil patch and 6 Central African countries that could derail fossil fuel projects valued at more than $130 billion. Yep. So, let's see what happens here. Representatives from the U.S. State and Treasury Departments warned African officials in a meeting in Washington in late April that they would be watching the outcome of the negotiations closely. And they are. So we'll see what happens. Israel's jets strike Yemen's main airport after another Houthi attack. Wreckage from a previous attack at the international airport. Israel said the bombing of the airport, which was targeted for the second time this month, had destroyed the last plane used by the Iran-backed Houthi militia. Good. Israeli warplanes bombed the main international airport in Yemen again in retaliation for recent missile attacks by Iran-backed Houthi militia. Good. North Korea has infiltrated the U.S. remote jobs market with the collusion of treasonous Americans who've betrayed America by setting up fake accounts for North Koreans to get jobs in remote working in tech firms who are stealing the information and selling it to third parties and using it against the United States. An American has been convicted of her actions. North Korea infiltrates U.S. remote jobs with the help of everyday Americans. A LinkedIn message drew a former waitress in Minnesota into a type of intricate scam involving illegal paychecks and stolen data. Christina Chapman looked the part of an everyday American trying to make a name for herself in hustle culture. In prolific posts on her TikTok account, which grew to more than 100,000 followers, she talked about her busy life working from home with clients in the computer business and the fantasy books she'd started writing. She posted about liberal political causes, her meals, her travels to see her favorite Japanese pop band. Yet in reality, the 50-year-old was the operator of a laptop farm, filling her home with computers that allowed North Koreans to take jobs as U.S. tech workers and illegally collected $17.1 million in paychecks from more than 300 American companies. Now, it's illegal because North Korea cannot work in America. Here is this lady in one of her TikToks. Showed the rack of laptops she had there.
And I did not make my own breakfast this morning. My clients are going crazy, so I just got a smoothie bowl.
There's a rack of her laptops there. The FBI investigated this case and came after her. So here's a face of some of these Korean communists who are IT workers who are illegally working in the United States through this scam, all perpetrated during the Biden regime and uncovered during the Trump regime. So she says, I don't know what to do. Yeah, well. In April of 2022, a worker had just been hired as an American using the screen name Max messaged her about an I-9 form used to establish employees' eligibility for work in the U.S. Please ship out the hand-signed I-9 by the end of the day. The company send a message again. Could you please help me today? Yes, I'll get it out today. I did my best to copy your signature. I did my best to copy your signature. Ha, thank you, said the North Korean spy. Devices didn't always stay at her house. She shipped 49 laptops, tablets, and other computers overseas, including many to Dandong, a Chinese city on the border with North Korea. She sometimes received paychecks at her house, signed them and deposited them to her bank, and then forwarded the funds to another account after taking a cut. One of the North Koreans' most remarkable feats is the way they leverage gig workers to get around almost any controls corporations could put to detect them. They realize it's easy to hire people to do anything. Wow. So, in August 2024, she moved into a homeless shelter in Phoenix. I'll be back soon, she said. It's been a hell of a roller coaster. This February, she pled guilty to wire fraud, identity theft, and money laundering. Her total earnings amounted to $177,000. Under the terms of her plea agreement, she faced a maximum of just over 9 years in prison. She's set to be sentenced July 16th. I think she's to spend the rest of her natural life in prison for treason. She's lucky she isn't executed. The embassy now advises travel advisor. That's old. That's old, Jaden. That's just been updated. It's been a travel advisory at level 2 for months in South Africa because of crime. China imposed anti-dumping tariffs on plastics from the U.S., European Union, Japan, and Taiwan. Lashing out at the world, the Chinese, whose economy is collapsing, are striking back at the world. The duties on a type of engineering plastic include 74.9% on U.S. imports and 34% on European imports. On May 18th, week after its failing economy, after the 9-day tariff truce between the U.S. and China, the Chinese regime announced anti-dumping duties on engineering plastic, known as palm copolymer. Yeah. So, yeah, friendly Chinese. Germany says it will continue fueling the war in Ukraine because the German fascists just can't get enough death in Eastern Europe. In the latest sign of a warming relationship, Volodymyr Zelensky met in Berlin with Chancellor Friedrich Merz, who said Germany would increase funding for arms production and supplies. Of course they will. These are warmongers. The Europeans are warmongers. The same people who sat by idly and watched Yugoslavia fall apart and hundreds of thousands murdered. Yeah, they just don't care. Europeans are warmongers, and they have been for decades. They put on a pretty face, but they're leftist warmongers. The same people led us into World War II and World War I. U.S. and Argentina suggest an alternative to the World Health Organization after both countries withdrawn from the organization. Health Secretary Kennedy says two countries discuss creation of an alternative international health system. That's welcome. Joint statement released by the U.S. Health and Human Services Secretary and Argentine Minister of Health, Mario Lugones, noted that both countries moved themselves from the WHO in recent months, namely because of what they termed as misdeeds and mistakes during COVID-19. They will invite other nations to join us in shaping a new era of global health cooperation, which is focused on what they say are results, sovereignty, and a safer future for all. Well done. More than 8,000 Hudson Bay employees are about to lose their jobs as the venerable company that was formed in 1670, 1970. 350 years old. The Hudson Bay Company is on the verge of total collapse and disappearance, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. 8,000 employees will lose their jobs by June 1st. 89% of its workforce, or 8,347 employees, will be out of work on June 1st. And they will keep 1,017 employees, including those in distribution centers, until June 15th, when 899 of those will lose their jobs. That's it. The game is over. Hudson Bay is gone. And the Canadians want to play chicken with the United States over tariffs? Dumbasses. Trump administration has suspended visa interviews for foreign students. Wow. State Department has suspended interviews for foreign citizens applying for student visas abroad while it sets up procedures to review their social media posts. The halt comes as President Trump is trying to coerce Harvard and other institutions to restrict what they can say on campuses. That's a lie, New York Times. They're not trying to coerce Harvard. They're trying to stop racist and anti-Semitic commentary on these vile campuses where people's lives are endangered because of the inaction of the corrupt. Well, the Wall Street Journal runs a story trying to pull at the heartstrings for illegal aliens and those illegally granted temporary work permits. Yep. Only two companies make parachutes for the U.S. troops. Deportations will crush one. Immigrants from Ukraine and Nicaragua who keep the factory in North Carolina humming are among 18 million workers with temporary legal protections. That's 18 million people illegally given the right to work in this country by the corrupt Biden regime. Asylum seekers do not have the right to work in America and are forbidden under federal law from working. That's the law. They simply violate it. People given temporary protected status are not allowed to work in this country. Only legitimate refugees are allowed to work and legal immigrants. So, no empathy. So they're trying to tell us we won't have any parachutes. Nah, nonsense. Nonsense. They'll hire Americans and legal immigrants or the South African refugees to make the parachutes in North Carolina. Well, now that he's left his temporary position for 120 days as the head of DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, Elon Musk having some regrets, discovering just how deep the swamp runs in Washington, D.C. He made his comments saying that the DOGE became a whipping boy. Elon Musk returned to SpaceX Tuesday for a test flight of Starship spacecraft, which didn't go well. And he said in an interview that slashing the size of the federal government proved far tougher than expected and lamented the intense criticism leveled at U.S. DOGE service, which he has led. The federal bureaucracy situation is much worse than I realized. I thought there were problems, but I'm sure it is an uphill battle trying to improve things in D.C., to say the least. DOGE has just become the whipping boy for everything. So like something bad would happen anywhere and we would get blamed for it, even if we had nothing to do with it. He said people are burning Teslas. Why would you do that? Exactly. Because they're domestic terrorists, Elon. And the Trump administration's attorney general has failed to arrest them. They're domestic terrorists, Pam Bondi. Why haven't they been arrested? You go after people who bomb abortion clinics rightly, but you don't go after the people who declare an insurrection in Seattle. You weren't the attorney general. Jeff Sessions wasn't. I forget who it was then. Might have been Bill Barr. But you don't go after those people. You don't go after domestic terrorists. Why not? Well, SpaceX lost another ship on a test flight. The partially successful test followed two earlier failures, posing challenge for Elon Musk's grand vision for the large spacecraft. Well, the Starship is not going well, folks. Another kaboom took place yesterday. I'm sorry I didn't cover it, but I was busy. Trump media follows the lead of several companies, high-profile companies, leaving Delaware. Delaware has long been a tax haven, but it's run by leftist demon rats, and people are leaving it. Shareholders approved a move to Sarasota-based company's home state, aligning rules with Florida as more firms exit Delaware over legal and cost concerns. Trump Media and Technology Group, TMTG, parent of the social media platform Truth Social, has dropped Delaware as its legal home and re-domiciled in Florida. The switch became effective April 30th. We're thrilled to reincorporate our company in Florida, CEO and Chairman Devin Nunes said in a statement. With its pro-business orientation and respect for the rule of law, Florida is a great place for Trump media officially call home. The company's operations are already based in Sarasota. Alongside Truth Social, Truth Media is building a family-focused streaming service, Truth Plus, and a fintech arm branded Truth Fi. Well, long overdue. Should have been ready when this thing went live. We'll see what happens. When Truth Plus comes up, then I will broadcast on it. Well, the leftists are trying to deny low-wage earners, minimum wage earners, and those in the service industry a break on taxes for tips. It was nigh on 30 years ago, plus that the U.S. government criminally began taxing tips. Tips are not wages. They're promotion for doing something well. And we've been taxing tips for servers and for bartenders for decades. And now Trump is ending it, and they're trying to pretend that it's going to hurt people. Nonsense. Worker advocates and some labor law experts call it a gimmick that could incentivize employers to keep base pay low and reclassify some salaries as tips. Utter nonsense. Utter nonsense. Utter nonsense. Advocates for restaurant workers and some labor laws experts call it a gimmick and lock in a controversial practice allows them to pay tip workers as little as $2.13 an hour. Well, with the end of tax on tips, no one can pay $2.13 an hour, you morons. You just hate Trump. Stop it. Trump media will raise $2.5 billion from investors, and they'll put it in Bitcoin. Trump Media and Technology Group said on Tuesday that institutional investors will purchase $2.5 billion in the company's stock, with the proceeds going towards a Bitcoin reserve. The deal comprised $1.5 billion in common stock and another $1 billion in convertible notes priced at 35% premium. Wow. Bitcoin will be held in the balance sheet alongside existing cash equivalents, short-term investments totaling $759 million at the end of the first quarter. Wow. Well, there you go. Trump media is doubling down on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. That's interesting. That is interesting. Well, we still have, are we still live here? About 1,600 people watching the program. Thank you for tuning in, folks. You want to come equate 50 million people into a one-liner? What's this? Who's Buster B? What's that all about? Buster B says, please check with the SABC. You can apply. Well, that's Bella. That's not Buster B. But there's Buster B. So what have they contributed to the country? Give me an example. Who's contributed to what country? I don't know what you're talking about. All right, let me get to the super chats because I missed them while we're doing stuff. I don't want to skip people's super chats. Let me take care of that very quickly. Okay, see all. Okay, let's get to this. Okay, 28 May. Well, we had quite a few here. I didn't realize we had so many. Is that right? No, that can't be right. We had that many super chats? No, let me look and see. No, we haven't had that many super chats unless they're all very small. Let me see. There's 27, 28. 28. Come on now, 27. There we go, 20. Okay, so Francois de Jaeger says, good evening. I've seen the most beautiful and most ugly South Africa. It's just very sad. True. JP Naudia says, the Elena Barkhuizen saga already displayed on DA's true colors. I've never voted DA since. Kevin Motrin gave those two super chats, which I already addressed. Francois de Jaeger, ANC is still a terrorist organization. Kevin gave the third one. I answered that one. Then Heinrich Schoenfeld did his. Then Mare Liz Lawrenson says, tired of BS, thinking of you, Chris. Well, thank you very much for the 40 Rand. Game Otaku, so sorry for your friends. My prayers with them. Thank you for your 50 Rand. Claire Pelzer, they won't be laughing long, Colonel. Karma, yeah, I agree. Peter LaRue gave a 10 Rand super sticker. Thank you. Lad ZA gave a 7 Rand super sticker. Thank you for that, both of you guys. This is for everybody. Debbie Fox, 350 Rand super chat for the prayers for the farmers. Bite Me says, hi, Colonel. Flemish and Dutch Parliament has spoken up. Okay, I'll have to check into that. Thank you for that. Odette de Jaeger, 35 Rand super sticker. Thank you. I hope the next stop will be sanctions from the whole world, says Irene, 70 Rand. I'm not sure about that. James Warren gave a super sticker saying thank you. You're very welcome. Christian Dimont says thank you for all the info and updates. I saw that one. Truth Minister. Hi, Colonel Wyatt. Will you consider going on Joe Rogan to have a conversation? Of course. I'm happy to go on Joe Rogan, but I've never heard from Joe Rogan. These people have to contact me. U.S. commentators seem to have no interest in bringing me on their programs. I don't know why. I'm available. I'm not hidden. I'm available. Happy to go on Joe Rogan, on the Rubin Report. Happy to do all of them, but none of them. Angela Rose asked to become in a program, and I haven't heard back from her. So I'm happy to go on all these programs. I don't turn down interviews unless it's a racist. Yep. And I don't charge for my interviews. Once they're done with the farms, they will be coming to cities, says Con de Bruyne. Well, they're already in the cities, yep. Thank you for the super chat, 35 Rand. Jaden Brown, 35 Rand. U.S. Embassy now advises. Okay, I caught that one. That's already been there. That's just been updated. Francois Ondu, what a nice state in the USA to settle in. Where's that at? North Carolina? Thank you for the 14 Rand super chat. And JP Nadir says, how difficult would it be to determine the role of politicians' farm attacks? The claim is the attacks are regular crime. Why steal nothing? Because it's not crime. It's terrorism. Yep, it's not regular crime. It's terrorism, and that's not a regular crime. So, yep, thank you all for the super chats. We're inching up towards 97,000. Those twins are great. What twins? Who's that, the Hodge twins? Dylan says I'm too good looking for them. I don't know about that. EU and EU are globalist in nature. I agree with you, Gio. Sola Sinclair, South African government won't give me an ID number. My parents are South African. I was born at home, and white people don't do home births, so I must be a stolen child. What? That's insane. Then threaten to sue them. Threaten a lawsuit. Andrew, I haven't talked about India and Pakistan. That's gone quiet unless something happened today. Still trying with Joe Rogan. Thank you, Alan. I appreciate that. Rob should be able to get you in the Rubin report. Well, I've mentioned that to Rob, and it hasn't happened. Get a chance to get us out before it's too late. I'm sorry to hear that, Loretta. Cannot get a bank account. Well, that's insane, Sola. We are still going USA and very excited, says Lawrence Hofeld. Okay, well, keep that to yourself. Nobody except yourself can complete the form. Yeah, that's correct. NATO claims Trump has approved long-range missile attacks inside Russia. The top-tier planners believe it's a high problem. Well, we already have approved long-range missile attacks from Biden. He allowed ATACMs to be used, so I don't know how that's news, wicked one. I don't know how that's news. Can't hire a lawyer without an ID number. Well, that doesn't make any sense, Sola. Then get someone, contact AfriForum. Contact AfriForum and tell them your situation. They have attorneys. Someone can help you. Thank you and President Trump for a window of freedom. Well, you're welcome, Skippy. Putin was almost assassinated by Zelensky a few days ago. What? I haven't heard about that, Helavidi. The problem is they're not only after farms. The law allows anything. Exactly. Section 25 has always allowed any property, and property is not exclusively land. That's always been the case. Guys, I'm going to have to leave in a few minutes because it's time to go on Ronaldo. Mad Max Lost was part of this delegation visiting White House, revealed that upon landing, she was informed she had been removed from the list of delegates scheduled. But she got in. She got in, so I don't understand how that happened. So I don't know what to tell you. Where the hell are your parents at? Why aren't your parents involved in this? Have they passed? I don't have an answer for you without knowing the particular situation. I'm not an attorney, but there are people in South Africa that can help you. You're just not contacting the right people. I'm sure you've tried an awful lot to sort this situation out. I mean, it's crazy. How did you go to school? How did they let you in school? Don't you have evidence of that? Okay, so sorry to ask these questions, but I really don't. Okay. Okay, there we go. All right, just it took me a while to find it. Okay, you'll be redirected over there if you want to go. We got 1,509 people here. So how's Thea doing? Thea's doing fine. I heard from Thea today. She contacted me earlier. Let me just check and see. Give me a second. Okay, cool. All right. Cool. Wow. Okay, well, I can tell you that she is moving into permanent housing this week. She's got a permanent place, moving into it this week. People saying bypass tariffs if they send raw material to plant, no tariffs. That's actually not true. Thank you, Bernice Fourie. Hey, Roger Rabbit, where you been, man? Been a long time. When do you think the rest of the world will wake up? I don't know the rest of the world will wake up, Ernst. It's run by a bunch of leftists. These are the same people that brought us COVID. These are the same people that brought us the scam. These are the same people that oppress free speech. These are the same people that oppress freedom of assembly by religious groups. These are the same people that demonize Christians and white people. The German government, the French government, the UK government. I don't expect them to change anytime soon. Bye, Corey. I'm leaving too. I haven't seen anything about Trump, about Musk staying on as an advisor. That's not a legal position. That's just, anyone could be an advisor to Trump. I could be an advisor to Trump if he asked me to do it. Didn't hear about that. Thank you from that Reuters. Rob is still in the U.S. Call me Novak, and I'm interviewing him Friday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 p.m. South Africa time. Bernice, you're very welcome. Lucky Luke reporting for duty. Well, Luke, we're wrapping up. Most of the people on the chat are trolls. Colonel, don't even try justifying your silence on who we're going. Okay. Top Kremlin aide says Trump not sufficiently informed about Ukraine. Really? He's not. Okay. I'm glad to hear that from the Kremlin. Work jobs are guaranteed. As a lot of people don't want to worry about not getting employment. What do you mean job? Nothing's guaranteed, Mark. No one's entitled to anything. Are you serious? A 4% unemployment rate? There's 13 million jobs of begging. Plus, we got 18 million people illegally working in this country who violated the law. A lot of them are being removed. There's no jobs guaranteed. You don't want a job in America if you're lazy. All right, cool. Thank you, Michael Neustadt. Okay. All right, it's time for me to go over and join Ronaldo. You'll be over there in 3 minutes. See you guys over there. Thanks for being here. And be sure to hit the like button. Thanks a lot, everybody. God bless and have a good day. Cheers.